Welcome back. Welcome back to Rise Up with me, Alexander. It's another beautiful Saturday. The sun is shining, clouds are clear. Another 7 days have come and gone. And here we are once again, focusing on us, bringing our attention. Now, the busyness of our lives often pull our attention in different directions. That attention can go forward into the future, thinking about this afternoon or tomorrow or the day after. That attention can go back into the past, thinking about events, little dramatic experiences, thoughts, regrets. And oftentimes our attention sort of yo-yos between past and future, past and future, past and future, with ever so fleeting glimpses of clarity in the moment, being perfectly present, perfectly aware. So this is an opportunity to practice your present awareness so that you can remember to do so throughout your day. Now, there's some very simple techniques that you can use in order to sort of ground yourself wherever you may be, either in a meeting, on a date, on a phone call, working, taking the moment to ground yourself in your reality, in your space, in your time, by using your breath, bringing your attention very discreetly to your own breath and slowing it down to a coherent cadence. And after doing that for several revolutions, you can bring things back into focus. You can start to see more around you. All of your senses become more activated. You become more in tune with what's in front of you. The sounds, the light, the experience. Your breath can do this. You can also do it by identifying objects. Say, what are 5 red things around you? And looking around the room and noticing the red objects. What are 5 black objects around you? And when you look around, you identify them. You can think of the textures of them. Are they warm? Are they cold? Are they ribbed? Are they soft? Something like this would allow you to bring your awareness to your physical space. When you're in the middle of a conversation, you can bring your attention to the weight of your clothing. Something that often goes completely beyond your sense. You become desensitized to it. These little moments of clarity help to recenter yourself. You can discreetly press your toes into the ground through your shoes and your socks. Ground yourself a little bit further. You can bring your fingertips and thumbs into a mudra to focus your attention just to the very tips of your fingers. And while you're holding your fingers together, you can recreate any sensation using your mind. You can imagine ice. You can imagine cotton. You can imagine bark, all at your fingertips. Now, these sensorial exercises are ways of using your mind in order to bring your attention to different locations, to direct it. Quite often we find our mind drifting away, focusing on something that is not present. But by choosing these different directions, you're actually strengthening your mental resolve to be focusing on the thing that you want to focus on. It is an act of mindfulness to simply be focusing on the person that's talking to you. It takes great sustained attention. To be listening to their words without thinking And hearing the voice in your head coming up with the rebuttal requires conscious awareness, complete focus, and patience. Patience to take in, patience to allow it to unfold. You might have the answers, but still having the patient awareness to allow it to unfold without interrupting, without interjecting. This takes time. But it's a skill like any other. You can get better at this. First you do it for 30 seconds, and then you get sucked back in, and you regather. The moment you find yourself drifting off, this is a very important point to pay attention to. It happens when you're driving your car, and all of a sudden you realize, I haven't really been focused. The highway hypnosis kicks in and you just arrive at your destination. I don't remember how I got here. I did the turn and the turn. Here we are. This is something that happens naturally, though it's also something that you can take a hold of. Similar to dreaming. A dream is a natural occurrence where your subconscious mind reconstructs, based off of your past experience, a narrative. And then you populate that narrative and move about it. While that's happening, you're in a semi-aware, semi-conscious state of passivity. It's like watching a movie. But just like the subconsciously aware moments of your life, there's an opportunity to take control, to consciously step into the awareness of what you are doing. And then when you have that control, well, now you're in the driver's seat. Now much more is possible to you. You're now the master of your own reality. Now whether you're awake or dreaming, this is a very similar phenomenon. How you acknowledge and speak to yourself in both of those environments is what dictates what happens in those environments. The self-talk, the voice in your head, this is the mechanism by which you can gain control. If you can get that voice to be coherent, to be in sync, it's how you can take control of your daily reality and see miraculous things take place. And it's the same mechanism you can use to take control of your dreams so that you can enjoy lucid experiences. This is the same voice in your head that you will notice when you meditate. When you take a moment and you sit and settle in, you empty the thoughts from your head, and one by one, you arrive at emptiness, and that emptiness holds for as long as it holds. Maybe it's a minute, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 15 seconds, maybe it's 5 seconds before you drift and some idea catches you again. Some floating cloud that came by of some idea, and rather than watching it pass, you became engrossed with it, hypnotized by it once again. And now off your mind goes on this little mental adventure. Thinking, thoughts, experiencing. How long does it take before you regain your conscious awareness of what your purpose was? Maybe it's just a couple seconds. Maybe it's a couple minutes. And I want to bring your attention to that exact moment of realization. That moment of, oh, I'm meant to be meditating right now. What's your first thought there? Is it one of scorn and frustration, anger? Or is it glee? Are you happy in that moment? Are you grateful? There's a big difference between the two. And what I want to point out there is that feeling, that sensation of conscious recollection, conscious gathering of your thoughts, and the moment of emotion you have there is so, so critical. In that moment, you are speaking to your inner self, your inner child, and how you emotionally respond to them will dictate whether or not they will continue to be on your side or whether they will go about trying to deceive you in order to avoid your emotional scorn. The example I'll give here is you're meditating, completely present, and some thought of ice cream comes along. And now you're engrossed with this thought of ice cream. Imagining going to the ice cream shop and picking the flavor and getting the scoop. And just then, wait a second. I'm supposed to be meditating. In that moment, you can say, oh shit. Come on, what the fuck? Why is it so hard? Or you can say, hey, thank you for reminding me. Thank you for bringing my attention back to the focus that I'm intentionally meditating. And you can bring yourself back to center and continue. Now, why is that difference so important? It's a difference of parental response. It's a difference of maturity. When you get upset or frustrated or angry with yourself, even if you think it's okay, it truly isn't. It goes somewhere. It sits somewhere. It hits something. And that something is you. I've come to describe it as the inner you, the inner child of you. And that inner child is the one who is on the other side of that equation, the subconscious. So when you get frustrated and you say hurtful things towards yourself, F, you always do this. Why can't you just stay focused? Come on, again. Your inner child feels that. It's hit with that. It's an emotional wound that you've just consciously inflicted. And you say to yourself, consciously, oh, come on, here we go, let's do it again. But now you have inflicted this emotional slight. And if you continue to do that over and over again, what you end up discovering is that your inner child is not in sync with you. It's not lined up with you. Your subconscious is going to go to greater lengths to deceive and hide these moments of awareness from you. Why? Because when you've been brought them to your attention, you're not grateful. You're not appreciative. You're not happy. So they go to greater lengths to, well, if I bring this up and remind them that they're daydreaming, they're going to get upset with me. So I'm just not going to bring it up. Let me ignore it a little bit longer. Let me hide it for a little while longer. Versus being grateful, being appreciative, being joyful in the moment, saying, oh, thank you. We were meditating, got distracted. Oh, there it is. Bring it back to center. Thank you so much. Oh, do that every time. As many times as you have to. Bring me back, bring me back, bring me back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then you're in alignment. Then you're working as a team. Then you're introducing the correct response so that your subconscious inner child looks forward to the opportunity to find those and identify those moments to help you bring you back, bring you back, bring you back. At this point, I'm convinced there is no greater human trait than to forget and then remember. It's what we all do. It's what we've all done. Why can't we remember who we are? Why is it so difficult to remember who we are? Why do we forget and then get so engrossed with the delusion of the forgotten memory? We're so forgetful that we forget that we forgot, and then we are long forgotten. We forgot we're ever even trying to remember. But then when you do, when you get that glimmer of memory of what you are, of who you are, of why you are, like a flash, it all comes back. Some of us require exigent substances to get this memory back. And when it comes temporarily. We get a glimpse of it, and oh, it's so beautiful, and oh, it's so blissful. But when you build it through the substances, it's just like peeking over the fence, getting a little boost so you can look real quick and get a little peek, and then you come tumbling back down. You have to build your own bridge to get over that fence. You have to dig your own hole. Just seeing it, well, at least now you know it's there. Fantastic. But you have to do the work. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to find a way to connect with yourself in order to get that cohesive, coherent, full signal back in alignment, back into attunement with who you are. One of the most important things you can do to begin that is to start speaking the good thoughts. Speak the good words to yourself. No excuses. No excuses. Don't justify it. All the little tiny mistakes are opportune moments for growth. They're reasons to smile. They're silly little indiscretions that have no bearing on the true you. But the more that we overreact, the more that we over-respond to these small indiscretions, the further we create a rift between our true self and where we are today. Remembering that we are these beautiful beings of light. Remembering that we came here for a purpose. Remembering that there is no mistake. There are no accidents. Everything that happens for a reason. And then being in the moment of that reason, being in the presence of that reason, is the best way to gain all of the experience. When we allow our consciousness to get divided, some of it in the future, thinking, processing, worrying, some of it in the past, regretting, shamefully thinking about mistakes, we're dividing ourselves. We're missing out on the opportunity of the present moment, the ever-fleeting and ever-present right now, to be fully present, to be fully aware, to be grateful and loving and joyful and blissful in one's shell, live out one's dreams. So to avoid these distractions, we need to start focusing on proper self-talk, self-respect, self-love, self-awareness. We need to recognize when we're not being self-loving. We need to spend the time to acknowledge all of the self-talk that's not true, that's not ours, that's reflective of some past trauma that we keep reliving, that's reflective of some abusive moment that we've internalized, that we've allowed to overshadow who we actually are. A joyful, loving, light being. Sitting and recognizing that we all have an opportunity to rediscover who we are, what we are, and why we are. And when you do that long enough, you realize that we are all the same. We are all facets of the divine diamond of experience, living out our unique facet. All connected, all related, just diluted in our own little way for our own unique experience. Getting past all of that, there's something beautiful. There's a beautiful reminder on the other side of that we are loved, that we are capable, that we are free. We're just temporarily living in this three-dimensional form so that we can gain that reminder back, so we can rediscover something greater. Yeah, that's all I have for this week. Take the time to love yourself, to care for yourself, to appreciate all of yourself. Take the time, recognize, reflect all the little things that you think were mistakes. They weren't. Once you accept and appreciate them, you can start to realize there's so much more to you. So much more. And if you don't embrace all of you, you won't be done. You won't be able to move on. You'll be caught up in some regard, living someone else's dream, living someone else's life. So take the time to self-reflect. Take the time to go inwards and let go of all the things that we think are important to us. The burdens, the regrets, the expectations. You might be shocked what you find. So, see you next time. Sophia.